President Trump will have been in office 100 days. Even the president admits he thought it would have been easier. Joining us to talk about this benchmark, News4JAX's political analyst and director of JU's Public Policy Institute, Rick Mullaney. You know, Rick, there are some who say his legislative agenda has not grown much beyond the campaign rhetoric. What have been his successes and failures?
Well, he has had a number of successes during the first 100 days, and probably his signature accomplishment was the appointment of Neil Gorsuch to the U.S. Supreme Court, and that is one he's been lauded for most by conservatives. But Bruce, I'd say his signature moment was the missile strike in Syria, and it has the chance, I think the potential, to reset U.S. foreign policy, particularly with the message that it sends to North Korea, to Russia, and to Iran. For conservatives, they also like his national security team, a very strong team, and his cabinet appointments, and the change in policy directions. On the downside, lot of shortcomings, a lot of setbacks. Travel bans have failed twice and held up in the courts. Healthcare did not go through. Congressional and FBI investigations on Russia. And of course, there's always the temperament and style issue, which has generally gotten low marks across the board. So a very dramatic, very tumultuous first 100 days.
The president's made it clear that this 100-day benchmark really means nothing. How do his first 100 days rate historically?
You know, tough question to answer because presidents come to power in different circumstances. If legislation is your criteria, then FDR clearly was the king. 1933, nearly 80 pieces of legislation, nothing quite like that presidency in terms of legislation. In terms of decisiveness, I mentioned President Trump going with the missile strike in Syria. Harry Truman, in his first 100 days, made the decision to drop atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Crisis, look at what happened with Lyndon Johnson, and even President Obama in the Great Recession coming to power. So I think it's hard to gauge. I will say it's been a significant 100 days, but it's hard to compare previous presidents because of the circumstances in which they come to office.
People tend to look at fulfillment of campaign promises, relationship with Congress, and other things to see what kind of trends there might be. Is this a gauge of long-term success or a long-term plan?
I actually think it is, and in terms of building consensus, building coalitions for a big legislative agenda. I think President Trump during the first 100 days has done some significant things, but to truly be successful, it's going to have to be that legislative agenda on health care, on taxes, on his appropriations for the military, for infrastructure, and for the wall. And I think that's going to be a real challenge. In fact, that's the sobering challenge that lies ahead. It really is.
Among those items, what do you think the biggest challenge happens to be?
In the near term, healthcare is important because it is a predicate really for tax reform. And those two pieces are really fundamental to the Trump agenda. The trajectory of Donald Trump's first 100 days is very significant from the past, not like FDR's, but significant. But to be successful, he's going to have a legislative agenda. Reagan and Johnson didn't do much early, but passed sweeping legislation later. Donald Trump can possibly do that, and it's important for him to do it.
Now, there's an interesting dichotomy among the electorate. His approval ratings are historically low, but his supporters seem to see a plan taking shape. Is it?
Bruce, I don't know. Well, first part, there is a plan out there, I think, but among his supporters, according to the Washington Post, 96% said they would vote for him again. And according to the Washington Post, in a head-to-head contest with Hillary Clinton, he would win again, and in the popular vote by 3%. On the plan taking shape, domestically, his legislative agenda has become fairly clear. He wants to repeal and replace Obamacare. That's a heavy lift. He also wants to do tax reform. That's going to be more challenging than people think. And on the appropriations side, which takes legislation, it's increased military spending, infrastructure, and a wall. On foreign policy, he's well positioned to do some things differently. He's got a strong team, but we have to see about that policy coming together.
Shoring things up domestically, though, is a bigger problem than overseas.
Well, he's had surprising success on the international stage because he doesn't have that Congress. But yes, he's got to do better domestically. No question about that.
Rick, always a pleasure to talk to you. We'll have more on the president's first 100 days on News4JAX.com. And if you would like to revisit Rick Mullaney's analysis, you'll find it on the morning show page in the video section after about 10:30 this morning. Jen?